1 year. 205 Live has been airing now for 1 full year. As of today, November the 29th, 2017. Yesterday, 205 Live aired their 1 year anniversary special on the WWE Network. Episode number 53. So, how did they go about working around their massive, spectacular 1 year? You're about to find out. I'm Ash, this is the 3 Count, and you are watching the Aerial Offensive. Now, before we get on to 205 Live, we'll start with what happened on Monday Night Raw. A fatal 4-way match to determine who will be going through to the number 1 contendership singles match later in about, say they're going to be on 205 Live or on Monday Night Raw, but either way, not yet, in the future. It was contested between none other than Akira Tozawa, Rich Swann, Noam Dar, and Arya Daivari. Now, 2 of those guys are, they are members of the Zo Train, as Enzo Amore is calling his little team of buddies that he's got going, and then the other 2 are clearly not. So you had the 2 faces, the 2 heels, so the whole face-heel dynamic. This match was put together by Raw General Manager Kurt Angle, and if you guys watch Raw View with Joel, you'd have heard a little bit more about it earlier tonight. Now, the match was eventually won by Rich Swann, who will go on to fight the winner of next week's Fatal 4-Way match to become the number 1 contender for Enzo Amore's Cruiserweight Championship. Now, on to 205 Live. Your first match of the night was Noam Dar, along with Enzo Amore, taking on Rich Swann. Now, it was quite funny as this match started, as Noam was making his way down to the ring. Enzo's music was playing. Enzo came out with this whole shtick that he does. Put his microphone to his mouth. Nothing. The microphone didn't work. You could kind of hear Enzo in the distance if you really craned your head in and listened. But his microphone just didn't work, so the WWE cut away whilst they were having technical problems to some advert. I can't remember what it was for. It was probably for their Christmas toy range. I can't quite remember. But it cut away, and when it cut back, Noam and Enzo in the ring. Enzo just cutting a little promo about saying how the Zo Train let him down on Monday Night Raw by not having a member win the Fatal 4-Way match instead of having one of the faces. Then he decided to berate Noam Dar, because Noam Dar is the one that got pinned by Rich Swann on Monday Night Raw that allowed Rich Swann to win the match, go into the number 1 contendership match then in about, I'm going to say 2 weeks' time. That's the best guess that I'm going to be able to give. Now, nothing much really happened. He just told Noam to get his head out of his arse, basically. He needs to really redeem himself because he might not get another chance to represent the Zo Train again. Noam just sort of stood there, took it, nodded his head, nonchalantly. It was just there. Rich Swann entered. Basically, your run-of-the-mill match. At the beginning of the match, you had the commentators saying that this is their 1 year anniversary, a nice little celebration. I don't think the commentators really cared that much because the commentators haven't been a commentary team for all that long. I can't remember the one commentator's name. I do. The commentators are Vic Joseph and, the one that I did know is the one that I'm trying to remember. Nigel McGuinness, also from the NXT, and he also did the UK Championship tournament at the beginning of this year. Vic and Nigel also do WWE main event. But these guys didn't really seem to care less about it being a 1 year anniversary because they haven't really been a commentary team on that show for all that long. Because Corey Graves used to be down there with Vic Joseph, but Corey, for some reason now, has just disappeared and has become like a multi-branded man between Raw and SmackDown. But that was at the beginning of the match. The match carried on as you kind of would have suspected. The heel came out the more dominant over the face, so Noam, in case somebody can't understand my accent, Noam was all over Rich at the beginning. And then sort of twisted to the point where Noam was getting beat down. So Enzo had to take it upon himself to try and interfere, try and capture the attention of Rich Swann, climbing up onto the ropes several times, sort of waving at him. The normal manager shtick, the normal stuff that they do. with the best one coming when... what was happening? Enzo had to climb up onto the apron. Noam Dar was down in the corner with Rich Swann on the second rope. Now, Rich got completely distracted by Enzo Amore, giving Noam Dar to get out from under the corner, run all the way at Rich Swann, and drop kick the back of his leg and his knee into the turnbuckle, dropping him to the floor. Now, this looked like there was going to be a massive turn in the match to maybe swing towards Noam Dar's way. That didn't happen, as mere moments later, Rich managed to turn it round yet again. He managed to climb up to the top rope, Phoenix Splash onto Noam Dar, 1, 2, 3 for the victory. Rich kind of rolled out, walked to the back, happy with his victory, with Enzo kind of berating Noam, saying that he's probably not going to get another chance to represent the Zone Train. You can't keep doing this. You need to pick up the W instead of the L, with Noam Dar saying that he was sorry to Enzo, saying that he could do better and that he will do better and that he'll get another chance. We went then to a backstage interview with Kalisto. Kalisto was asked, how does he feel about appearing tonight now for the first time since he'd lost the Intercontinental? Wrong show. Since he'd lost the Cruiserweight Championship to Enzo Amore. Kalisto said that it hurt, it really stung. As you're gonna, you've lost a championship match, mate. But he was obviously and understandably irate, and he said that he was ready to just get back into the action on 205 Live, which then cuts straight into the match then. Gentleman Jack Gallagher, along with the Brian Kendrick, taking on Kalisto. Now, Kalisto was selling all of the attacks throughout the match perfectly. That everything that Jack Gallagher was throwing at Kalisto, Kalisto was selling it to perfection. He was making it look like all these technical moves were looking proficiently sound. He was making all these submission moves really look like they were digging in and taking a toll on the parts where he was focusing these attacks. Then you had Brian Kendrick on the outside of the ring, literally just staring there. Staring them down. Didn't really move throughout the match. He just coolly, calmly, face really looking mean. And he was just giving daggers the entire time to the guys in the ring. He was really making sure that he was coming across as some sort of bad guy on the outside. Like he was something to be feared, as if he had a plan, as his entrance song does state so. And this was actually a pretty good match, considering, it's just like the mid-card match of 205 Live. Now, it's got Gentleman Jack Gallagher, and it does have Kalisto, so these guys are two very good wrestlers in the ring when given the chance to do what they can. And unfortunately, when on Raw or SmackDown, you sometimes don't get given this chance. But I think for some reason this night, these two guys decided to really take it up a notch and try to step it a bit further to show what the Cruiserweights can do without doing too much flippy shit, and showing that you can also do ground and pound technicality that will also add a little element of Cruiserweight ability within it. And this really came across quite profoundly, and I really enjoyed this match. Now, Kalisto went to hit the Selena Del Sol, and he did. He hit it, and then that looked like it was basically all over. The match pretty back and forth throughout. He hit the Selena Del Sol. He went over for the pinfall victory, and then the Brian Kendrick got into the ring and booted Kalisto square in the side of the head to call for the disqualification win in the favour of Kalisto. Then Kalisto was double teamed by Gentleman Jack Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick. Normally, I'm not a big fan of these, but these endings do kind of annoy me. But tonight, this just sort of bundled what I thought was an already good match, and really threw the ball straight down the court, because this now takes Kalisto out of the Cruiserweight Championship picture, which is what I really wanted, because I didn't want to see Kalisto versus Enzo Amore again. This now sets Kalisto up lovely for a nice little rivalry with either Jack Gallagher or Brian Kendrick, or by the looks of it, both. But it does kind of annoy me with the fact that Gallagher and Kendrick were setting up for a rivalry with Alexander and Swann just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's all gone down the drain now, but I'm happy with the fact that we're not getting another Amore-Kalisto championship clash. Again then, after this match, we had yet another Hideo Itami vignette, just to try and hype him up a little bit more, which then forwarded and segued into a backstage segment. between Cedric Alexander, Rich Swann and Mustafa Ali. Now Rich Swann just sort of nursing his wounds from earlier in the night after a lucky win against none other than Noam Dar. All the guys were sort of, selling Hideo Itami before he's even got there by saying like his strikes are going to hurt. He looks like a big threat, like he's going to be a big deal. But Cedric Alexander was to turn around and cut off Rich Swann and say, look, dude, you ain't going to have to worry about Hideo Itami. What you're going to have to worry about is me after I win the Fatal 4-Way match next Monday night and then go ahead and face you for the number 1 contendership for the Cruiserweight title. Now, Mustafa Ali was in the background. He heard this and he was like, whoa. You're kind of forgetting about me here. I'm also going to be in that Fatal 4-Way match. I think I am going to win this match. They had a little bit of a back and forth before turning around and saying, look, we are tag teaming in the main event tonight. We are on the same page. We do like each other. We are good friends. We're going to go out there tonight, get the job done for Tuesday to then move on to Monday in that Fatal 4-Way, which went straight into the main event. Tony Nese and Drew Gulak representing the Zo Train, taking on Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. During Nese and Gulak's entrance, Gulak announced that Enzo Amore had turned around and called them backstage as Team PowerPoint. I'm guessing that once the whole Zo Train thing dies out, that maybe Drew Gulak and Tony Nese will become a tag team known as Team PowerPoint. He then elaborated, saying that it did have a reason for being called Team PowerPoint, and we all know that Drew Gulak loves to do a nice PowerPoint presentation to the point where even Microsoft even acknowledged him for it. But he turned around and he said that Drew Gulak had loads of valid points, whilst Tony Nese was just a pure powerhouse. So it just made sense to call them Team PowerPoint. Now, I think it's a bit cheesy, but it can kind of work. We've heard things called, a lot worse. So, that was that. They got into the ring. The faces came out. The tag team match started. Now, Ali and Alexander were clearly not tag team minded going into this match. They constantly had little missteps here and there. The miscommunication was clearly in your face, telling you, these guys don't know what they're doing proficiently enough. They don't have enough tag team experience, perhaps, considering the fact that Cedric Alexander has been in several tag team matches over the past couple of weeks with the likes of Mark Andrews and Rich Swann. Now, this goes to show that just because you're a great singles competitor does not mean you can make a great tag team competitor, which I know that WWE commentators like to throw around a lot, but it really does go to show that those are two completely different dynamics. That if you don't really know how to when to tag, which move to do, when you need to take a breather, when your time is to come in to help your partner, and when to section off the ring, that is a completely different mindset with the tag team perspective as to what a singles match will go and do. Now, for some reason, Drew Gulak and Tony Nese were gelling together wonderfully, and I would actually like to see these guys as a tag team on their own, preferably. Maybe they can go ahead and challenge for the Raw Tag Team Championships if Kurt Angle would allow the Cruiserweights to just sort of venture off and have little jabs here and there at other championships that the company has to offer besides the Cruiserweight title. Now, the chemistry between Nese and Gulak was great, whereas the chemistry between Alexander and Ali was not. Like I said, the miscommunication was quite rife. There wasn't much there to keep the faces within this match. They did, however, hit a pretty impressive crossbody doomsday device onto Tony Nese. Came to a pinfall, but Drew Gulak managed to save the match there for his team. There was, again, a few miscommunications, like tags that weren't supposed to happen. The guys were clearly getting... the faces were clearly getting annoyed with each other. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And it just sort of broke down to the point then where... excuse me. Mustafa Ali managed to get the tag in and was a little bit confused and a little bit, doesn't know exactly what he's doing because of Alexander. Tony Nese barged Mustafa Ali into Cedric Alexander. Alexander hit the floor on the outside. Then Tony Nese quickly rolled up Ali for the quick 1, 2, 3 pinfall. even after the bell went, miscommunication between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali continued. You had Nice and Gulak leaving the arena, going up, celebrating their win. Enzo came out and celebrated with them on the ramp. Alexander and Ali still arguing within the ring. Which then takes us on to next Monday on WWE Monday Night Raw. You're going to have a number one contendership qualifying match to get into the Fatal 4-Way. Well, no, not to get into Fatal 4-Way. It is a Fatal 4-Way to get into the singles match. That's what I meant. The Fatal 4-Way, and the match is basically the tag team match we just had. It's going to be Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali versus Tony Nese versus Drew Gulak. Now, the winner of that match will go ahead and face Rich Swann, and whoever wins that match will go ahead and fight Enzo Amore later down the line for the Cruiserweight Championship. Now, personally, I want to see Cedric Alexander win that match because Alexander is such a great talent and he needs to win that Cruiserweight Championship. And if you make a member of the Zo Train win this match, then it's fairly obvious that Rich Swann is going to win the number one contendership match, because you're not going to put a member of the Zo Train up against Enzo Amore unless they put a little storyline twist now on Noam Dar and kind of build him up to try and take it after all this has happened. Obviously that's not going to affect now, but Noam, is kind of wanting to show his worth, but Enzo doesn't really want him there. But I'd rather see Cedric Alexander win this match over the likes of Mustafa Ali, even though I do find Mustafa Ali as a great talent. I'd rather Cedric Alexander win this match, then go ahead and win against Rich Swann, then take on Enzo Amore and hopefully win that. But I can't see that happening because we do have a debuting Hideo Itami coming soon, and we all know that it's going to be face Hideo versus heel Enzo. Now, I'd like to hear what you guys have got to say about tonight's event. If you guys even watch the show, just leave a comment, send us all messages. You can follow us all on all forms of social media. I've been Ash. This has been the 3 Count with the Aerial Offensive. You guys have a nice night, and I will see you all soon.